What's going on, everybody? You know who it is. This is Austin, and this is the Austin Smith Real Estate Podcast, where we talk about real estate and we talk about lifestyle. Today's guest is, today's show is going to blow your mind. This was a very, very amazing show, and I'm glad that I got a chance to interview this particular individual. He's been featured by Oprah. He's been featured in Ebony, Huffington Post, all these. Like, it's amazing. And once you get a chance to hear his energy, it's truly inspiring, especially where you hear, his upbringing, the childhood, and then the maturity into the successful businessman that he is today. And it was a total honor being, having the opportunity to interview this particular individual. And, I'm excited that I got a chance to bring him onto the show, for him to provide value for all of your lives, my life, and anyone else who is willing to listen. So, a little bit of housekeeping before we get into today's show. If you know anyone that can benefit by listening to the show, please share this message on your platforms. Let's continue to share the sugar. And if you personally have benefited by listening to the show, log on to iTunes, leave me a rating and review. Let's continue to build this up. So, today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to have your mind blown. Without further ado, let's get into the show. What's going on, everybody? Today on the show, I know I usually say that I'm super excited to bring on each and every guest, but I don't think you realize how excited I am to bring this particular guest on. If you don't know him, well, we won't even get into that. I'll explain the entire bio. He'll talk about himself. He's the CEO of MJ Harris Global Enterprises, which is the parent company of his other businesses, including the National Care Financial Group, which is one of America's largest black-owned financial services firms, and he'll get a chance to talk about that today, which seems like that was the company that catapulted him into semi-superstardom. He's also the CEO of MJ Harris Omni Media, and as people might know, he's been featured on Ebony, Black Enterprise, Huffington Post, USA Today, and a woman named Oprah, which I'm not sure who that is quite, but he's been featured by her as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to introduce you, if you don't already know, MJ Harris. MJ, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. It is such a pleasure to be on with you today, and just to be able just to lend my voice to help inspire other folks out there who are looking to change their life and create a dynamic future. And I know that's what we're going to do together with our time together today.
My wife and I take as much social media content that we can. And, for everyone that doesn't know, the words are extremely empowering. It makes you never forget. We love it. So we're going to dive right into this. Because I want to talk about how you left a pretty solid position, at a consulting firm. You're making six figures, and you leave that job to start your own business. We'll talk about that in a second. But before that, just give us an idea of who you are, how you got started, everything before landing that six-figure job.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, my name is Malcolm MJ Harris, and literally, when I look at all my businesses and look what I do, it's always hard for me to describe. When people say, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm self-employed because I have so many different hats." But what I will tell you is that they all come together for one purpose, and that purpose is to help people live their best life financially, spiritually, and emotionally. And, I do that through my motivational speaking. I've got online courses. I do tours and speaking engagements. And I have, as you mentioned, a financial services company where we've recruited over 1,300 people just within the last 5 years. So we've done phenomenal. But I'll tell you that my life has not always been this way. I am originally from Dallas, Texas, but I spent part of my childhood in Dallas and the other part just outside of D.C. in Maryland. And, for me, I'm the child of a parent who struggled with addiction early in my life. For me, I went through my childhood being bullied like you would not believe. I, have a learning disability, am a victim of abuse. I had a lot of challenges that I would say, if you looked at my childhood at that point in time, I don't think anybody in their right mind would have said this child is destined to have multiple multi-million-dollar businesses and have an audience of over 3 million people around the world every single month. No one would have believed that. But it was because of my trials and my challenges that catapulted me into seeing that the destiny that was placed on my life, whether you call it from God, the universe, or just my own inner will, whatever you want to call it, the destiny that was placed on my life by that thing was a destiny of helping people to live better lives. That was my greatest desire, was just to see people, to be able to help people through their greatest challenges and achieve their biggest goals. And that's what I'm so fortunate to be able to do every single day.
It's so interesting you mentioned that. So, you're helping individuals grow, live their best life, consulting, right? Because it seems like even as you advanced in your professional career, you land a job that most people would, essentially love to have, and they focus on the dollars. And you're in an environment that extracts those skills of helping people. But for some reason in this field, and I've read articles of how you talked about it, and you really enjoyed your lifestyle and having the condo and having the consultant position, but something in you still wanted more. Even though you were doing exactly what you wanted to, as far as consulting and leading people, there was something that made you want more. So tell me about, because the theme of the show is, just setting up your financial future and taking ownership of your financial future. Tell me what the mindset and the thoughts that you had in order to leave a very well-paying job to start your own business.
Well, I'll tell you this. Whenever we talk about money and being well paid and everything like that, it is all relative. Because trust and believe that if a company can afford to pay you $120,000 a year, whatever that six-figure number is, trust and believe that they're making $1 million on you. Okay, they're not giving that money to you and going into debt. All right. So when we think of, I'm making a lot of money, no, it's a lot of money to you. All right, but I need to be making the kind of money that's a lot of money to my boss, or to the person who owns the company that I'm with. And I started thinking about that. I remember I was working in consulting. And I was so excited. I had this big salary and all this stuff. And I remember one day I drove through all this traffic to get to work. That was a normal thing. And then I get into work and I'm rushing in, trying to get there to be at my desk by, 9 o'clock or whatever the arbitrary time was that they made up for me to be there. And I say arbitrary because really and truly, who actually does work when they get there at 9 o'clock? You got to, make your coffee, check your email, check your Facebook, your Instagram, all that other stuff. So I got there, rushed to get there by that time. And as I'm getting there, I look beside me, and the person getting out the car beside me is one of the owners of the consulting firm that I worked with. He was a partner, and he's getting out of a Tiffany's blue. So that blue from Tiffany's, the jewelry company, a Tiffany's blue Ferrari. Now, it was the tackiest color on a Ferrari I've ever seen. That's just not my taste. But nonetheless, I said, he got the money, so that's for him. And so I thought to myself, I said, this man did not look like he was rushing to go anywhere. He's in a car that was probably about $300,000 at minimum. He's wearing a suit that cost more than probably 3 of my paychecks combined. And he's just walking in breezy, easy breezy. And he wasn't that much older than me. And what occurred to me was I said, you know what? We place limits on ourselves all the time by believing that our good enough is enough forever, and not knowing that we can have more, we can do more, and we can become more, really. And so for me, I started to get discontent because I said, this can't be my life forever, going into a job, slaving away just to collect a check so that I don't have to live, so that I don't have to be on the street. There's got to be better than this. There has to be a way for me to be able to live like the people who I admire. It's so funny. Right before our interview today, I was working out downstairs with my trainer, and he we were just talking about stuff. We always have great conversations. And I said, I remember being a little boy watching the show Lifestyles of Rich and Famous. I remember that. And with Robin Leach. And he used to say caviar wishes and champagne drinks. And I used to rush home every day to watch that show. And I remember saying, I want to live like those people. I want to have such financial abundance that money is not even a thought in my mind. It's the only thing that's on my mind is living my life in its fullest expression. And so for me, you know, being there sitting watching this man getting out of this baby blue or Tiffany's blue, whatever it was, Ferrari, I thought to myself, and that's what I remember from Lifestyles of Rich and Famous. I want to live like that. And so I started trying to figure out what could I do to have a level of financial and time freedom so that I could not just make a quote unquote good salary, but so that I could build wealth. And that's what led me into the financial services industry.
Why do you think that, like, I'm hoping the audience can just hear how, you know, just the confidence of just being able to say, you know, I want to be able to attract abundance of money. And, but it's, you know, for most people, money is like that sensitive topic, right? It's that sore spot. And, you know, why do you think that, you know, we're not allowed to, you know, think in that manner where I want an abundance of money just to be able to make purchases easy. If I get sick, I can take care of myself. If my family gets sick, I can take care of them. Why isn't that just why is that so hard to say to ourselves?
You know, I think that for many people, I'll speak for myself. You know, for me, I was raised in the church, okay? I'm a PK, which means a pastor's kid, okay? And I was raised in the church, and although I was raised in a very loving, very affirming, very inclusive environment where we were taught nothing but love and welcoming of all people, you know, at the end of the day, I was also taught some very traditional values in my childhood, which was things like the scripture that says it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. Imagine what that is saying to us. I remember growing up hearing things that talked about people being filthy rich. Now, we say that easy and breezy, but think about what that says, filthy rich. Okay, we associate wealth with greed. We associate more and abundance with somehow or another, like you're gluttonous about money, you know. And so for me, I was indoctrinated at a young age by people who didn't know nothing about wealth building to teach me that there was something wrong with wealth building, you know. And that was just the environment that I grew up within, and they were teaching it well-meaning, you know, the pastors, the deacons, just culturally, even beyond my own church. I was taught this. Those are the cultural values that are taught, I don't want to say in America, but very specifically in lower middle class and middle class America, okay? Because those values, I guarantee you, don't extend to the upper classes. When I go around my neighborhood, I live here in Southern California, and I go around my neighborhood and I see my neighbors with their Bentleys and whatever it is that they're driving these days. Nobody's sitting up here looking at each other saying, she don't need that extra Bentley. Why she gotta have so many cars? Ain't nobody saying that. They're saying, hey, Sally, I love the new car. Tell me, who's your guy? I want to call him if I want to get me one too, see if I can get me one at a good rate. You know, nobody's judging. We're encouraging. And so, you know, I think it's a class mindset. You know, whenever you hear somebody talking against wealth, what they're indicating to you is the class that they're in mentally. And so I think that for a lot of us, what we got to do is we got to understand that there is nobody, listen to me when I say this, there is nobody stopping you from achieving or even desiring a higher level of financial security, or dare I say it, wealth, than you currently have. Nobody's stopping you. I don't care what church you were raised in. I don't care what environment you were raised in. I don't care what you were taught or what you thought previously. You are the person who's in control of your mindset. So if there's a limiting thought within your mindset, it's up to you to identify that thought and remove that thought. You got to ask yourself this. And I always say one of the greatest meditations you can ever say to yourself is just this one question: what do I want? And just ask yourself, what do I want? Say it over and over again. What do I want? One of my good friends, her name is Chanel Cooper Sykes. We're in the same industry of motivational speaking. She taught me that, and I just absolutely love it. Is you say, what do I want? And you ask yourself that over and over again. And here's what's going to happen initially. Initially, you're going to have some barriers come in your mind where you're going to say, well, I don't really need all of that. Or, no, I don't really, I kind of would like this. And you're going to mute it down. But what I need you to do is keep repeating, what do I want? And then I need you to ask yourself it unapologetically. I need you to take all limitations of what is quote unquote realistic off of your mind and take even need. I don't need all that. Who cares what you need? You don't need a Bentley, but they sure as hell are nice to drive. You know what I mean? What do I want? And I want you to become very clear with yourself about if there were no limitations placed on you, if there were no financial limitations placed on you, what would you want? How would you want to wake up every day? What kind of sheets would you want to wake up on? What kind of home would you want to wake up within? What time do you want to wake up? How do you want to spend your day? How do you want to spend your money? How do you want to enjoy your life? And keep on becoming clear with yourself about what you want. And once you have a very clear picture about what you want, then what I want you to do is get a pen and a piece of paper out and identify any mindset or any thoughts that currently stand between you and what you want. Mindsets that tell you that you don't need more money. Mindsets that talk to you about greed. Get rid of all those. Write them down and identify them so that you can know what you're fighting against, because your greatest enemy on the path to wealth building is the old thought that you taught yourself.
Oh my goodness. I'm at a loss for words.
Take a deep breath. I come back and punch.
I think the reason why, right? The reason why is because some people, when you see them on Instagram, you see it from a 30-second to a minute clip, and then that's it, right? Mm-hmm. So they're able to put on the amazing energy, and then the moment that, the camera's off after the 30 seconds or a minute, they're dreary. They're great people, but they're dreary. But your energy is on 110, like, straight through, and it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I've never been at a loss for words like that. But okay. Well, before we jump into, all right, because you've now, hopefully the audience can tell that you've now established the first thing of changing any particular situation, and it's the mindset, right? So hopefully, that wasn't hard. It's an actionable step. And I love, bringing guests on to give the audience just actionable steps. And it doesn't have to be anything big, but just, small actionable steps that they can take. So mindset, number one, they have it implemented. Before I go into the financial habits, which is now putting the mindset into action, the financial habits of the wealthy, I want to ask you kind of a devil's advocate question that I didn't have planned, but it's come to mind. What are your thoughts on, okay, you're helping people live their best life. Do you think that will always be geared towards people who either are entrepreneurs or business owners, or can people find that while working, a full-time job? And the reason why I ask that is because there's that caveat where it's like everybody wants to be entrepreneurs. And, with my entrepreneur mind, if everyone becomes an entrepreneur, I'm going to become an employee because there's going to be no employees, and the value and demand for employees are going to be so high that I'm going to get paid more than the entrepreneur. Not literally, but just, just playing devil's advocate. What are your thoughts on that?
So here's my thing, all right? I remember that there was an interview that Damon Dash did, I believe, for the Breakfast Club some years ago. It wasn't very long ago, but it was a couple years ago. And on it, he was talking about really his belief that entrepreneurship is something that you should do, that you should get into. Even my brother, I have a couple brothers, but my brother, Niels, who I'm speaking about, he's got 5 little ones, and he's taught each of his children that you will never work for anybody. You need to be an entrepreneur. My mother taught us the same thing. And so am I a believer that entrepreneurship is a great way to go? Absolutely. Am I a believer that entrepreneurship is probably one of the best ways to build wealth? Yes, the numbers prove it. The majority of millionaires created it through business ownership or through some form of capital gains. They didn't collect it on a W-2, you see? And so for me, I'm just stating pure facts by acknowledging that if you want to accrue wealth, one of the fastest ways to do that is through being an entrepreneur. But I do want to throw a caveat in there. which is that not everyone is intended to be a business owner. Not everyone will want to be a business owner at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, as a business owner, I'm the last to get paid. So there are days where it's high, but in the beginning of the business, there were days I didn't get paid at all. So it's not a path that's for everybody. But rather you're a business owner or not, one of the things that we can all do is we can all take on an entrepreneurial mindset. Even if you're choosing to build your career and you're choosing to be an employee, that's perfectly fine. I am not here to job shame anybody. But what I am saying is that if you're going to be an employee and you're not going to be a business owner, then understand that you're going to have to be very entrepreneurial minded, which means that you're going to have to see yourself as a brand, see yourself as a business, and understand that the businesses that you're working for are simply revenue streams. They are not your job. Get rid of the mindset of job. Think of those as revenue streams. You are going there strategically so they can contract your services, contract your expertise and your skills in order to be able to pay you for whatever you're doing for them. All right. And so from that mindset, when you're operating your career from an entrepreneurial mindset, then you're not going to sit up here and stay in some job year after year after year without asking for a raise, without making sure that you are the top paid person in that office for what you do. Okay. Because if you were a business, you would make sure that you're getting the most value out of your clients in terms of what you're charging for your services. So you got to think the same way. If you're going to operate your career in an entrepreneurial mindset, then that also means that you're going to make sure that you're going to do whatever you can do to add skills and so that you can get the most value out of your skill set. So sitting up here and being complacent and not going out here to see, well, what can I do in order to make myself more valuable so that I can get better roles, so that I can elevate and have upward mobility, that's what you're going to think about. If you're in an entrepreneurial mindset, then you're going to try to find companies that are going to also allow you to be paid based on the growth of the company. So yes, they'll pay you a salary, but if you're adding so much value to the company that you're helping them to make money, then you need to have some kind of bonus structure that allows you to be compensated based on the success that the company's achieving. So that even though you're not a business owner within that company, you're still participating in the upside over there. Okay. That's what you do. Okay. When you're operating from an entrepreneurial mindset. So I'm not somebody who's telling folks, oh, everyone needs to be a business owner, because that's not everybody's path. That's not everybody's calling. Not everybody even wants to do that. But I am saying that if you want to build wealth, then you've got to see yourself as a business and operate your career as such.
Love it. For those listening, I wrote a blog article. I don't remember how long ago it was. And the blog article was entitled "Why Every Single Person is an Entrepreneur." And it's everybody is the entrepreneur of their own business of self. So exactly what you said, if you're having a full-time job, no problem. That is your revenue stream. That is one particular revenue stream. But you have all these other options that you can actually go after. And you hit it right on the head. Like, if you haven't checked out the article, Why Everybody is an Entrepreneur, that is the epitome of that entire article. And you just brought it out in content podcast form. Okay, so we diving into the financial habits. Now that we have the mindset set in place, the financial habits of the wealthy. And the reason why I wanted to ask this question is because there's this saying, when you know better, you do better. No, it's not true, essentially, because it's almost like when you do better, you do better. Because we all have the knowledge. We all, the information that's on the internet, it's all there in front of us, and I'm not talking about the lack of resources where, some people just don't have access to those resources to learn. I'm just talking about the individuals that know, we all know what to do. Not all of us, but a good portion of us know what to do with our money. But for whatever reason, we just don't do it. What are some of, if you could break down a couple just simple financial habits that are most overlooked, but can, just change the trajectory of our whole entire financial future, what would that be? And I'll give you one that you've mentioned and one that, I picked up on, haven't implemented it, unfortunately, but it's an excellent, excellent habit. When you mention having the one particular debit card with all the money that you are allowed to spend for that day, whether that's
Mm-hmm.
$17 or $250. You have one card that you're allowed to spend, for that particular day. Give us, elaborate on that, and then just give us, some of your financial habits that help you build wealth.
Absolutely. I'll elaborate on that one first. What I call is a daily spending account. And so what happens is, for your bank accounts, you have one account where you put your spending money in there for that day, that week, however you want to allocate it, but you don't want to have more than what you need for the week. And here's the reason why. Because what you put in there is all that you have to spend. This is for your getting gas, this is for getting lunch, whatever your day-to-day expenses are, not your bills, but your just day-to-day expenses. And then what happens is when that account runs out, you've run out, all right? And that way you're not mixing your bill money and your savings money together. What stops a lot of people from being able to manage their money well is often if their money is too mixed together. If you look at any successful business and any really wealthy person, most of us have got multiple accounts. You got an account that's for this, an account for that, an account for the other. We separate things so that we can see them more clearly. It also lets us know what's our burn rate. So how close we to burning out on that particular account, so we can know, okay, let me slow down here and focus over here, and so on. So that's what I recommend there. But, for the next thing that I would say is a habit of the wealthy, a financial habit of the wealthy. It's so funny. I actually saw this in a meme. There's a site called Overheard in LA. It's an Instagram site, and they put up quotes that people have overheard people saying, or conversation excerpts that they overheard people saying around LA. And there's some of the funniest things, because you can imagine with LA, with all the wealthy and creative people here, you hear a lot of different things. And there was a conversation that a husband and wife were having at a fairly fancy restaurant. And the husband says to the wife, he says, honey, he says, we got a spending issue. We're spending too much money. And then she looks back at him and says, no, darling, it sounds like you got an income issue. And I just love that, because when you think about the financial habits of the wealthy, I do talk to people about making sure that you're keeping your expenses in control. But at the end of the day, you can only reduce your expenses but so much at the end of the day. There's only but so many cable networks you can turn off. There's only but so much a cheap car you can get. There's only but so cheap a rent or mortgage you're going to have. At the end of the day, you can increase your income unlimited, all right? And one of the greatest habits of the wealthy is that when they are facing a financial shortfall or just a limitation in terms of what's coming in right now from a cash flow perspective, what we do is we look at how can I make more money, okay? Sure, controlling your expenses is something you should think about, but you need to look at how you can make more money. You got to get out of that scarcity, poverty mindset of, okay, I'm going to clean up my situation by cutting. No, darling, how can you make more money, all right? How can you add an extra income stream? How can you get that raise at work? How can you increase your skills so that you can be put in a position, rather you're an employee or within your own business, where you can make more money? The best remedy for a financial issue is more cash, okay? Cash is king. You can only save but so much. That would be the first thing that I would say. The second thing that I would say is a bit more of a mindset thing, which is get rid of a scarcity mindset. What you have to understand is that for what you believe is a good year's salary, there's someone who makes that in a month, and there's someone else who makes that in a week, and there's someone else who makes that in a day. What separates them from you is not luck, not favor, not anything at all, other than they have chosen to take the steps to position themselves to make an income at that level. What we got to recognize is that we can have access to any level of income that we mentally position ourselves to get access to, as long as we believe that our best is 200,000, then that's literally what we're going to do. We're only going to seek out opportunities that are going to be in alignment with that. When you open your mind to saying, you know what, no, I am unlimited and I am inviting in abundance. Some people believe in the law of attraction. Some people believe in faith. Call it whatever you want. Understand that these are all universal laws that essentially say that our life will follow behind where our mindset goes first. Until we can believe in our own mindset that we deserve more and that we can have more, then our actions are not going to fall into alignment to seek out the opportunity, the people, and the resources in order to attain more. So you have to make sure that you are taking the limits off your mind. You've got to nurture this on a daily basis. It's not just about putting together a cute vision board at the beginning of the year and saying, okay, I'm going to achieve this. No. It's a daily thing. It's about every single morning waking up and saying, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? Literally sitting and meditating on the things that you want. It's about doing things to inspire desire within you. So if you're a car kind of person, then go out to those car dealerships. Go test drive a Rolls Royce. Whatever car you like looking at online, go to the dealership and test drive it. I guarantee you they'll let you do it. If you like beautiful homes and that inspires you, go out and look at some beautiful homes. You need to go and do things that's going to inspire you. Beyond that, surrounding yourself with people who share the same mindset. That doesn't mean that they have all the money on earth, but if you're trying to attain wealth and you're trying to do more, then you need to surround yourself with people who are wealth-minded. Your friends who are complacent, who are happy just kind of staying where they are, that's fine. Keep them in your life, but give them less of your time, because you got to make room in your life for people who are actually your mental peers. And your mental peers are people who are working towards, or they have attained the same level of goals that you are working towards. So that's another thing. You've got to look at your circle. You know, we've heard this a lot of times, that we are most likely to become and have an income level that is the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. Think about that real seriously. Your income is likely to be the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. If you really lock that in, some of y'all gonna make some quick choices right now, but hold on, I need to maybe spend a little less time around that friend who don't never seem to have it together financially, and figure out how I can build my circle amongst peers.
Now, did you was that because you started hanging around more individuals that it started to catch on, or was it at what point, if you could name a turning point, either business-wise, career-wise, financial-wise, if you can identify a turning point where, you're able to say, when this happened, this changed the course of, my entire life, or, this point is where my business took off, or this point is where my finances took off. Are you able to pinpoint a certain either scenario or occurrence that, or coincidence that made, that created that for you?
Yeah. Well, I will say for me, there have been several points for me. I remember there was a time where I had left my full-time job, and I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to focus my energy on doing my business full-time. And that was a hard choice for me, because I had that good 6-figure salary from my full-time job. I also had that good 6-figure income that I was making from doing insurance just on the side on nights and weekends. And I'm like, now I'm going to go do this full-time. I was scared to do it, but I decided, okay, let me go ahead and do it. Well, anyway, the beginning of it was very challenging for me, because I was still in an employee kind of mindset, from the point of view that, I was, very much so, I wasn't as productive as I need to be in terms of forcing myself to get up and do the work without having somebody crack the whip. I had some challenges. And so for me, what ended up was being a turning point for me was I started to see, okay, I'm self-employed at this point in time. I don't have a boss anymore, no boss, but I don't feel like I'm making as much money as I should be making being self-employed. Self-employment didn't feel as good as I thought it should feel. And what occurred to me, and this came by way of my mother, was my mother said, you need to get out of that broke man's mentality. I said, what you mean? I don't have no broke mentality. She said, yeah, that is a broke mentality, when you're so used to having somebody crack the whip on you, that's the only way that you're productive. Or you make or once you made enough money that week to be able to handle your bills and whatever else you got to handle, then you chill out for the rest of the week. No. She says, you need to get up, and you need to hustle and just keep going and going and keep making money. Just keep on stacking. Never have a mindset of enough. Take this idea. My financial goal is $300,000. Take that off of your mind, because $300,000 could be what you make in a month. And just go. Of course, have some self-care and some rest in there, but take that broke mentality off of you of placing limits on what you need, and hustle and take advantage of getting every dollar that's out there. Don't leave not a damn dollar on the table. And it was my mother who delivered that mindset to me, and just basically shaking that scarcity mindset and saying that there's a whole lot of money out here for me to be able to make. I don't even know the level of abundance that's out here for me, and it's my job not to limit myself or my actions. My job is to go after that abundance with a vengeance and unapologetically, all right? And so once that was something that helped me, which sort of touches on the next thing that helped me a lot, because I'm an online marketer, okay? That was the foundation of my marketing, was doing things online, okay? And so through doing things online, you got to understand that took a lot of courage for me to put myself out there and say, this is what I'm selling, this is what I'm doing. But, really being able to shake that off me and understand that that's another broke mindset of being afraid to market yourself. What you got to understand is Nike don't care about putting 5011 commercials on your TV screen. Neither does Tide laundry detergent. They will all put their stuff on your TV screen as much as they need to. They will send you stuff in the mail until you buy it. And even after you buy it, they will still send you advertisements. So you have to hustle. You got to hustle so hard and understand if they don't like it, then they will unfollow you. And if they unfollow you, they are giving you a gift because they never want to buy your stuff no way, or they probably couldn't afford it no way. And so just taking that fear off my mind and saying, listen, I am going to shamelessly plug myself at every opportunity that I get. And I'm not going to put limits on my level of wealth. I'm going to go after every goal, and I'm going to do it unapologetically. And I'm going to do everything I can in order to get this money and help as many people as possible to do the exact same thing for themselves.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, as we kind of start our descent here, last question before the core four. It's crazy because I usually, if you hear my other episodes, I always have something to say after the guest gives off amazing content, and I have nothing to piggyback off of it because I don't want to talk too much, and I just want my audience and listeners to do just that and just listen to what you're saying, and just to just start putting the mindset in place, to start taking the proper action. And yes, it's pure gold. Okay, before we jump into the core four, last question: what out of everything that you've done so far, the accolades, the accomplishments, the awards, the celebrations, what's next for Malcolm Harris? What's next for you?
Well, continuing to help as many people as possible is always my next step. But I'll tell you, in terms of very specific, tangible goals, my next goal right now is really to expand my television platform. Right now, I'm on KCLA, which is a Tribune network here, and they're the CW network here in Los Angeles. It's LA's #1 network. So that exposes me to millions of people every single week. It's fabulous. But here's the thing, that's not enough. The world needs to see me beyond just on their phones and on their computers. If I can do 3 million on phones and on computers, then imagine what I can do when I'm on your television screen. And so for me, that's the next step, is to expand my platform so that I can get into people's hearts and homes every single day of the week in just additional formats. So, I always like to be bold and say what I want. I am looking for folks who can help make that path possible. I got folks ringing on my door, ringing me right now, but no deals are finalized. So listen, I'm open, honey. I'm very open. If y'all got something for me, you reach out to my office, because I'm very open. And it's just wonderful to be able to have a platform with so many people and to be able to come to the table of television with such a large audience and say, listen, we've got audience. We just want an additional platform.
Beautiful. Awesome. Okay. Core four, which are the 4 questions that I ask each and every guest on the Austin Smith Real Estate Podcast. The first question is, what is your favorite aspect about real estate? But we'll change that question and we'll say, we can answer it 2 ways. We can say, what's your favorite aspect about financial services, or what's your favorite aspect about helping people?
Well, I'll tell you this. What my favorite aspect about financial services is, because I know that's something I can speak to. I can speak to that in my sleep. My favorite aspect about financial services is that it is a mechanism that has made more millionaires and billionaires than any other industry, okay? And when I talk about financial services, real estate falls into that, because we do consider real estate as an asset class, so I'm not neglecting real estate in any way, shape, or form within that, but being able to be within the financial services industry, either as a professional or as a client of this industry, you have tremendous benefits. There's a reason why when the economy was falling apart, when we had the bailouts and everything like that the financial services companies were the first ones to be saved, okay? They weren't saving your local grocery store chains. They were saving the money. And so for me, I love it. We're the last industry to generally go down in a recession, and we are usually the first industry to recover. So to me, I love it because it's a way that you can not only help a lot of people, but it's a place that you can make a lot of money. And just know that the government, I don't care who's in the White House, they always on your side when it comes to you being in the money industry.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The question number 2, favorite business or personal development book?
My favorite business or personal development book. Let's see here. My favorite business book would be, or personal development book, I would say probably one and the same, would definitely be, I love it. The power of positive thinking. I know that's not directly tied into business for a lot of people, but here's my thing. You could be the smart. You got people with
It's
Harvard
personal
degrees
development.
who are making, it is personal development, right? Because I was going to say you have people with Harvard degrees, literally, who are making less money than entrepreneurs who are high school dropouts. The difference is the mindset. I think once your mindset is right, you can do almost anything that you desire to do.
Awesome, awesome. Question number 3. When you're not chilling on the beach in Martinique during the holidays and during the winter holidays, what are the fun things that you like to do in your spare time?
Well, for me, I'm so fortunate to be able to travel a great deal. So this month I'll be in Lake Tahoe with my friends. Here in LA is so wonderful. I get to spend a lot of time with my friends hiking. I love going to the beach a lot. I'm always in Malibu. That's my second home. I love, 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 love being out there. I just like spending time with the people that I love. I live such a fast-paced life, and my life puts me in front of so many people on a daily basis that for me at this stage of my life, I really value the time that I can spend with the people who are in my corner, the people who know me inside and out. That's what I really enjoy, quality time with my people.
Cool, cool. Question number 4. If they don't know already, where can people find you at?
So I've got 2 things. So the way that you can find me is through my website, which is www.mjharrisspeaks, plural, .com. So that's www.mjharrisspeaks.com. But here's the thing, Austin, I want to be able to offer your audience something very special because I know that anyone who's listening to a dynamic show like this, they are interested in building success within their life. And so what I want to do is I want to offer you all something that I normally don't offer publicly, but for a while now, for over a year, I've had a mentorship program. There's a program that has been for a select group of people to be able to come on, and they are able to do live webinars with me. It's in group sessions where I'm giving a new wealth building and a new success lesson every month, and then you can talk directly to me on there, ask questions, get advice. This program is normally $197 a month, and we only offer to a select group of people. We're opening it up a little bit more right now, and so for your audience, not only will they be able to join this program for $38 per month, but here's the thing: there's no contract, so they can leave whenever they want to. But here's the thing: they can also be in the program and have their first 30 days be free because they're in your audience. So they can come on and try it out just to see how they like the program, see how they like the advice. If they love it, stay with it. If not, you can go and come back whenever you'd like to. And to take advantage of that offer, because it'll only be available for a limited amount of time, you just go to www.mjismymentor.com. That's www.mjismymentor.com.
Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, with drastic change is caused by drastic measures, and sometimes you have to take drastic measures if you want drastic change. He's putting it all out there for you. If you haven't, this is the podcast. Like even with reading books, every time somebody's like, "Oh, I read that book," and then I'm like, "Okay, well, how many times did you read it?" I read it once. Okay, so that's first grade. So you read it once, that's first grade. If you read it again, that's second grade, so on and so forth. But it's so easy to digest information and not be able to implement it. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this podcast episode a couple of times. Like, you need to instill this. This needs to become subconscious. This needs to become internalized. This is not an episode where you listen to it once, you get riled up, and then for whatever reason, that energy starts to wane off in a couple of hours. This is not that type of episode. This is an actionable podcast episode. This is a mindset changing episode. My mindset has changed. My actions are going to change. And I hope the audience can see that you are laying it all out on the table. Malcolm, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. We greatly appreciate it.
It is an honor and a pleasure to be here because I know that in your audience there are a bunch of other Malcolms, there's a bunch of other Austins out there, people who are ready for more and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get to more. So this information here, as well as the information you're sharing in your other podcasts, you really are doing holy, sacred work here because you are helping people to achieve their destiny. So I want to thank you for what you're doing for our community.
Greatly appreciate that. And next time I'm in LA, because my wife is from LA, next time I'm in LA, I'll be sure to drop a line to you and hopefully we'll get a chance to meet.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Enjoy the day.
You too. Bye bye.